G'day fellow miners and welcome back to my Feed the Beast test world. This is the second episode in a new series I started called Feed the Beast Unleashed Armitige Explains. It is a block spotlight / tutorial series based around the Feed the Beast mod pack Unleashed. Today we are going to talk about probably my favourite block in the entire mod pack. It is a block from Thaumic Tinker, which is an add-on for Thaumcraft 3, and it is called the Transvector Interface. Now the Transvector Interface is a very interesting block. It's found here in your Thauminomicon research, and it requires, for building it requires 4 arcane stone blocks, 2 redstone, 2 lapis, an ender pearl in an infusion altar, and 6 permutatio and 6 machina. It also requires the creation of a small tool made with 2 iron, a wand of the apprentice, a vis shard, 6 potentia, and 6 machina. The tool is used to bind the Transvector interface to various machines. Now over here we have a small little workshop area. You can see an applied energistics Emmy system here. There's an electric furnace, a powered furnace from thermal expansion, and a chest. Now I'm going to be going through a couple of the benefits and also limitations for this mod. So we will start by playing around with the powered furnace. Okay, so we're underneath here. You can see the powered furnace above. I'm going to replace this block and then place our Transvector interface here. And then I'm going to right click with the interface binder on the Transvector interface, and I'm going to shift right click on the powered furnace, and you'll notice that it says locations bound after you click on the furnace. So that means that we have a connection between the Transvector interface and the powered furnace. Actually I might break this, remove the power, I'll put this down, I'll put this on top, and then we'll have to rebind it. Whoop. You can see there's no power in here, so we'll just go back and we'll rebind it, and you can see still no power, but we have here a quantum generator and a power converter system. I'm going to connect, and you'll see that connects to the Transvector interface. If we go up here, we'll see that this is filling up with power. So there we go, completely wireless power to this this little fella here. Okay, the next thing that we can try and do is we can try and connect it up with pipes. So we're going to connect it to this chest. We might actually give this a go. See if we can bind this to this, and we can. And we'll pop a wooden pipe here, and then the remainder gold pipes coming along to here. Now we do have to actually change the interface configuration and make that a blue so that it's inputting. And then let's change this side to an output. Okay, we'll pop a gate on here, and we might actually quickly change this. Get ourselves a button, if we can spell it right, and we'll get ourselves some kind of block. Let's put down a lapis block, just any type of block, it doesn't really matter. I'm just taking lapis because, and we'll pop the lapis block here and a button here, and then we will so there's a redstone signal energy pulse. So what we're going to do is we're going to push this button, And you can see it's taken a couple of pieces of the iron ore that are in this chest out, and they are now in the furnace cooking. So that that worked quite well. So you can see the benefit here is that there's absolutely no piping above here that you have to kind of jump over or move around or try and conceal. It's all hidden underneath the floor. And of course you can do the same if we place a gold pipe there, and then we place another gate and we'll tell it to pump out. You can see the iron is coming out. So completely remotely wired, remotely interfaced with power, and this will work for all thermal expansion machines. Next we're going to have a look at what we can interface the electric furnace with. Okay, we have the same deal here. We are going to place a transvector interface underneath the electric furnace. It's right there. And thusly, and we will right click the transvector interface, shift right click the furnace. Okay, you see the furnace has no power in it. We have another quantum generator back here outputting low voltage, and we are going to see, as you can see, it doesn't connect. It's not a visual glitch. No power in the electric furnace. So unfortunately EU or IC2 power is incompatible with the transvector interface, which is a bit of a shame because that would make life a lot easier for everything. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to wire this up properly, and there we have our furnace with full power. It does, however, still allow us to pipe stuff to the furnace. Did we bind that? Yes, we did, didn't we? Yep. Okay, so it does allow us to still pump stuff to the furnace. Let's send across some more iron to our first furnace, and then we should see it pumping into here and coming out this end. And there we go, our furnace is active and it is creating some refined iron. You'll notice that it's pumping into the side. It's automatically finding where it should be put. That is, I believe, a feature of the Thaumcraft pipe. A lot of other stuff like Emmy interface, you need to actually connect it to the correct side. In the case of this, the top, which does make the transvector interface a little bit trickier to use with IC2 machinery, but it does work. You can pump things in and out of the machine. So we'll just put a wooden pipe here and put a gold pipe here. And you'll see refined iron coming out of the furnace, and there we go, it's empty. The last thing I want to cover in any detail is interfacing with Emmy System, because it's a little bit like interfacing with the IC2 in that certain things don't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath here, we're going to place our transvector interface, and we will bind the two systems. We'll then get some thermal expansion energy conduit, and we will run it along here and connect it up. As you can see, the conduit connects to the block and our system is powered. Now the unfortunate thing with the Emmy system is it doesn't interact with cabling, because I guess it has something to do with the fact that the cable carries power as well. But yeah, you can't actually connect cable directly to the Transvector interface that is bound to the Emmy system. You can, however, use buses on other bound Transvector interfaces, and they work in exactly the same way as they would if they were connecting directly to the block. So if we were to do this and then get ourselves some iron ore, we can pop it into our furnace, and you'll see the furnace will cook along, and we've got to connect our cable, haven't we, directly to our Emmy system. You'll notice that the iron's gone, it's now in the Emmy terminal. So although the cabling doesn't work in a similar fashion to IC2 power cabling, we can get things like the buses to interface with these blocks that are bound to other machines in the same way as they would interface with the machine itself. So that's kind of handy. You can still use your Emmy system, you just can't connect the cabling that leads to the interfaces directly to the to the Transvector interface. And I've just broken that because these things are really easy to break. They just break on a single punch. So that's some of the sort of limitations I've found with the system. I'm now going to go through a few other different items from the mod that will interface and work quite well with these Transvector interfaces, and I'll set up a few things and I'll come back. So just to give you an idea of some of the other stuff that I use Transvector interfaces for in my well, it's actually the modded server that we use on Hypermine. It's not Feed the Beast Unleashed, but it works in the same fashion. So yeah, these are a couple of ideas that I use them for. My bee laboratory, I have my hives connected or bound to Transvector interfaces, and you'll see the bees get pumped out. And the queen gets bred again, and the cycle goes on. Pardon me. So that's a good way of keeping your bee laboratory clutter-free around your apiaries, because you know there's nothing worse than having pipes coming out of the ground and holes around them and so forth. This just makes things look a little neater. One of the other things that I do in my world is I use this setup here for my Crucible in my Thaumcraft lab. I have a Transvector interface bound to the Crucible, and next to the Transvector interface I have an aqueous accumulator. Basically what this allows you to do is refill your Crucible as soon as it empties. So if we throw in those gold nuggets and then we flush the essentia from the cauldron, you see it just automatically refills, and then it'll start to boil a little bit. So that's just another way of keeping things neat. Saves having multiple golems. I just have the one decanting golem for my alembics. I don't need another golem to refill the Crucible. It's automatically taken care of. So that's just a couple of ideas that I use. I'll leave it up to you to figure out more uses for this wonderful, wonderful block. Probably, as I said, my favourite block in the current Feed the Beast mod pack for Unleashed. But that's it for today, guys. I want to thank you all for watching. Most of all, keep on digging.